Good day, sir. I am Mirasha Enrico from BSCE 1A, and today I'm gonna discuss my solution to the third problem using Polya's problem-solving strategy. And for problem number 3, the four children in the richest family in Mexico are Aurora, Evelyn, Anita, and Asuncion. The ages of the two teenagers are 13 and 15. The ages of the younger children are 5 and 7. From the following clues, determine the age of each of the following children. And the clues provided are: first, Aurora is older than Evelyn. Second, Asuncion is younger than Anita. Third, Asuncion is 2 years older than Evelyn. And last, Anita is older than Aurora. And now, let's solve the mystery. And here is my solution. First, understand the problem. And the problem is, it is asking for the age of the four children. It is a logic puzzle with 4 hints that talks about the age of the children. And after knowing the problem, let's devise a plan. And my plan is to use the clues provided. Make a table with the names of the children and their age on the title of each column. Now, let's carry out the plan. From clue number 1, Aurora is older than Evelyn. This clue implies that Aurora is not the youngest. The clue also implicates that Evelyn can't be the oldest. With this, we cross out the age 5 for Aurora and age 15 for Evelyn in the table. Next clue. From clue number 2, Asuncion is younger than Anita. The clue gives us the idea that Asuncion can't be the oldest while Anita can't be the youngest. So now, we cross out the age 5 for Anita and age 15 for Asuncion. And for clue number 3, Asuncion is 2 years older than Evelyn. This clearly says that Asuncion can't be the youngest, and given that she is 2 years older, this makes her 7 years old. With this, we can cross out the age 7 for the remaining 3 persons in the table. Additionally, this will lead us to the conclusion that Evelyn is the youngest. With this, we cross out the age 5 for Asuncion, where we are left out with the age 13 and 7. But given that she is 2 years older than Evelyn, this makes her 7 years old. And since this age is taken, we can cross out the age 7 for the remaining 3 children in the table. And upon crossing out the age 7, this leads us to the conclusion that Evelyn is the youngest, whose age is 5. For the last clue, from clue number 4, Anita is older than Aurora. Left with the age of two teenagers, the clue gives us the idea that Anita's age is 15 while Aurora's age is 13. And after knowing the four children's age, let's review the solution by reading again all the clues and processes we have done for possible errors. From clue number 1, we cross out the age 5 for Aurora and age 15 for Evelyn in the table. From clue number 2, we cross out the age 5 for Anita and 15 for Asuncion. From clue number 3, we cross out the age 5 for Asuncion, leading us to her age, which is 7. And after crossing out the age for other children, this leads us to another conclusion that Evelyn's age is 5. And last, from clue number 4, we are able to find out that Anita's age is 15, while Aurora's age is 13. So now for our answer. The teenager among the children are Anita, whose age is 15, and Aurora, whose age is 13, while the youngest are Evelyn, whose age is 5, and Asuncion, whose age is 7. And we are done with our first problem. Now, let's solve another mystery, another problem, the Carlton Bongs murder mystery. And here is the problem. Detective, Mr. Carlton Bongs was found murdered this week by one or more gunshot wounds to the head. He was standing on top of his apartment building, which is 50 feet tall, and while Mr. Bongs is 6 feet tall. No one witnessed the murder. Hence, it is your mission to find the killer. For the clues, from our investigation so far, the edge of each of buildings that the suspects were standing on are exactly 60 feet from where Mr. Bongs was standing. Ballistics experts have determined that the bullet traveled about 190 feet from the shooter's site on top of the roof to Mr. Bong's body. Each suspect was seen fleeing one of the three surrounding buildings at the time of the crime. And here are our three suspects. First is Michael, who is 54 years old with criminal record, aggravated assault and murder. He has blue eyes and bald hair and he is 6 feet tall. He was seen fleeing the Smears Tower, which is 141 feet tall at the time of the crime. Next is Domino. He is 38 years old with criminal record, aggravated assault and auto theft. He has brown eyes and bald hair, and he was seen fleeing the Folney building, which is 130 feet tall at the time of the crime. And last is Tony. He is 49 years old with criminal record, aggravated assault, drug trafficking, and racketeering. He has brown eyes with black hair, and he was seen fleeing the Dome Towers, which is 114 feet tall at the time of the crime. And after knowing the problem, let's now understand it. The problem is asking who is the killer of Carlton Bong's murder. Here, we are given clues and list of possible suspects with their given information to solve the problem. Please, let's now devise a plan. By using the information about the apartment building site, the shooter site, and the distance of the edge of the building to the victim, we can determine the killer by calculating who has a matching hypotenuse to 190 feet. This implicates using a Pythagorean theorem. Use a diagram or figure to clearly visualize the situation. After devising a plan, let's carry it out. First, here's the diagram or figure of the murder. And for the solving, let A as the distance of the edge of the building to the victim, which is 60 feet. B sub n as the height difference of each suspect in the apartment building where n is the suspect. And C as the distance of the suspect's height to the victim's body, which is the hypotenuse. And here is the Pythagorean theorem formula to be used. C squared is equals to A squared plus B squared. As seen in the diagram, since we are given only the suspect's height and the height of the building, we must find first their difference to be able to apply the Pythagorean theorem formula. So, the formula is B sub n is equals to suspect's height minus building's height. So, for suspect number 1, 141 feet minus 50 feet is 91 feet. For suspect number 2, 130 feet minus 50 feet is equals to 80 feet. And for suspect number 3, we have 64 feet. Now, let's apply the Pythagorean theorem. For suspect number 1, C squared is equals to 60 squared plus 91 squared, which is equal to 190 feet. For suspect number 2, C squared is equals to 60 squared plus 80 squared, which is equal to 100 feet. For suspect number 3, C squared is equals to 60 squared plus 64 squared, which is equal to 87.72 feet. And the hypotenuse that matched the ballistics expert information, which is 190 feet, is the first suspect, Michael. We now know the killer of Mr. Bongs, but to be sure, let's review the solution first. Or check the figure, the process done, and see if the result match the ballistics expert given information. And since we are able to find out from our solution that suspect number 1's distance from the victim's body is 109 feet, which matches the ballistics information. With this, the killer of Mr. Carlton Bongs is Michael, who is a 54 years old man with criminal record, aggravated assault and murder. He has blue eyes, bald hair, and is 6 feet tall. He was seen fleeing the Smears Tower, which was 141 feet tall at the time of the crime.